Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be Eris, the Zerg monster, taking on the battle cruiser bot. It is BenBotBC. The BC standing for Battle Cruiser, presumably. Who knows? Maybe it stands for Bring Cash. But anyway, we have got drones on the way for Eris right out of the gate, as we will be getting what looks like a nice hatchery first, and then just an overlord on an interesting scout pattern. Just get vision, check for proxies, that kind of thing. And the overlord isn't enough, says Eris, as it goes for a drone scout too. But BenBot's proxying actually very close to its own main base, so I don't know how much you can call this a proxy. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this game, make sure to go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. I certainly enjoy casting them. And then subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, as this is the only place where you can get daily bot matches. And yeah, big thanks to everyone who does support the channel via the YouTube membership program. It goes a long way and your support is appreciated. If you guys have ideas for perks or anything that you would like to see, let me know. I'm always open to ideas like that, as this bunker proxy does go down. And yeah, that's just going to be a low ground contain here from BenBot, which is a bit strange when we take into account the fact that Eris has already got its third base building on location, so no need to sneak a drone by when the drone's already there. The timing in which Eris can get up its third hatchery is ridiculously quick, thanks to the speed mining. It just allows the Zerg to have so many minerals early on and sort of overcome that bottleneck. We've got a single drone that might have been getting a bit aggressive, trying to kill this SCV. It might actually kill it. Let's see. It gets the SCV, but then its comrade avenges him. Unfortunate for BenBot, as that will delay the factory a bit, and that factory being delayed may delay this tank follow-up, which BenBot sometimes pairs with this bunker contain. You might be looking at a single bunker and going, what in the build is this? If you're just familiar with more conventional StarCraft 2. And the answer is that small aggression can pay out dividends, because it's very difficult to program a bot to understand whether something's light pressure or full on pressure. And as a result, we tend to get big reactions regardless the scale of the cheese from bot authors. It's just incredibly difficult to program an intuitive cheese defense. Looks like we did have the Roach Warren canceled by Eris, by the way, which is a bit strange, as it goes for more Lings, and it's getting Ling speed to the 2 spine crawlers is the big damage from this rush, though. As BenBot's not currently trying to push on in, I don't think that's really the intent of this build. It's just a nice contain. It's really messing with Eris, as Eris is just going hard into the Zerglings. The Zerglings, we can see from Eris, are actually very intelligent, though. They are not running by the danger zone of this bunker. I think I might have killed a few Lings, but the rest of these guys have all of a sudden smartened up and are like, do not run by that bunker. You will die. And that's just, like, that alone is just incredibly impressive. There's so many bots out there that would say, hey, I got to get to the spot, and then just die. However, unfortunately, this tank does finish up, so that does get a shot off on the Lings, but we see Eris adjust to that tank's presence. Again, incredible pathing and unit placement. BenBot is trying to take this poke out a little bit further. The spines are enough to zone this out, actually. And however, then we take a look. Holy Lings, Batman, as Eris has got a ridiculous 46 Lings, 10 more on the way. Ling speed 4 seconds from finishing. I'm wondering if that's going to be the trigger point here, as Ling speed does finish up. The Lings do not go for it. Some of them do actually decide, but there's the trigger pulled, as these bio units that were overextended get butchered. Now the bunker and the tank could be vulnerable. Instead, Eris is actually just running right on by. BenBot says bunker rush cancel Zerglings. which is something that I've never seen before. However, I did want to talk a little bit about the fact that there is a meta maybe developing between these two bot authors, and has been for a while, as if I do look at the match history between the bots, there actually is some requested games by the bot authors. So someone's working against the other when it comes to development. The bunker is still there. There's a Widow Mine on it, but Eris does sort of break the contain in a strange sense. The Zerg bot is confident enough to drone here. We do have the bunker actually getting some shots off on some of these lings. The Widow Mine will fire. That changes the math and forces the Zerglings away. The rest of Eris's lings, meanwhile, are attacking this debris, as Eris hates rocks, as frequent viewers of this channel will remember that, as those rocks are killed off. This is opening up a potential attack path for the Zerg, as BenBot is looking to expand towards this third base location, it seems. The bunker is delaying these lings a little bit. The Widow Mine will come off cooldown. That's going to be another shot fired. It actually gets a pretty solid connection, so while the bunker burns down, the containment goes on. We'll see if this Widow Mine gets a chance to fire another shot. I doubt it, as the bunker is just going to burn down. Eris does feed lings into it, interestingly enough. Looks like the lings pathing wasn't taking, since they actually were targeted on that debris, was not taking into account the presence of the bunker anymore, which is interesting. We do have an Overlord flying over for Eris, as BenBot's got a Widow Mine. The bunker finishes off that Overlord. The Terran bot is starting to move out with a little bit of bio. I am quite concerned by this gaping hole in the wall of BenBot, though. Eris could, in theory, just break this location, bypass the nice defense at the front. So BenBot opened itself up to attack by mining out this spot. For now, though, the game seems to have stabilized. BenBot and Eris are not bots that get too aggressive too early on, aside from things like that bunker contain. Eris might go for some ling shenanigans, but in this case, it's not doing that. We're getting the lings kind of running around randomly. We'll see if they do figure out that this location is exposed, potentially, and they're starting to move out, but BenBot's got Hellions that are active. There's random Widow Mines out on the map, so that might be what's complicating this. We take a look. BenBot's actually got mines littered all over its side of the map, which is incredibly strange, and I don't know why it's doing that. Usually you'd think from the Terran's perspective, you'd be like, okay, Widow Mine block the Zerg expansions, but instead BenBot's kind of just parking mines preemptively, defensively at its bases, which is, yeah, just a tiny bit strange. An attempt at a third base is being delayed thanks to this burrowed ling. Eris getting nice value from that. Liberator Siege is up, as BenBot is a bot that does tend to play fairly standard and in a catch-all manner for the most part. Like, the reason why these Widow Mines are burrowed at these bases is most likely because BenBot is planning on taking those bases in the future. It has Widow Mines out already, so it's like, all right, I guess burrow the mines where they'll probably want to end up. Now, this location does get freed up. It's not turning into a planetary or anything like that, so it could be vulnerable later on in the game. The Zerg's initial opening was delayed, of course, so Eris's fourth is just getting established now, so not that crazy Zerg economy. However, as I look around, it's pretty solid 3-base saturation, in fact, oversaturation, so Eris does actually need that new base up as soon as possible. We do have lings coming on in. This is not a planetary. This could be a nice opportunity for the Zerg bot as Eris comes on in. BenBot's SCVs are being butchered. One Liberator may as well not be here for how little damage it does to these lings. BenBot responds, kills off a decent number of the lings. However, that was a huge amount of SCVs that died. A massive chunk of BenBot's economy. Eris's lings are actually thinking about trying to pick off this tank. They won't get it, though, due to good repair behavior and just the presence of all this bio. So BenBot will get this nice defensive planetary established. I am still a little confused by the Widow Mine presence for BenBot, but I guess it's better than just, well, is it better than keeping them at home? I don't know. But anyway, we do get Drilling Claws on the way now, and a fourth command center going up for the Blue Terran. BenBot moving out with its Bioforce. This is forcing Eris to produce a decent chunk of units, which it maybe doesn't want to do because Eris usually likes to get up to like 80 drones and then spam units. BenBot, though, getting aggressive rather early in the game. The Raven revealing these roaches, the bio kiting back against the lings. The bio has +1 armor, so that's quite good. And now we're seeing, yeah, pretty solid trade here from... pretty solid trade from BenBot as it pushes on in. Queen's even going down. The Raven just really preventing the Zerg from getting that great tunneling claw efficiency, as we see these roaches trying to retreat, but some of them are actually getting picked off, which isn't too common. Auto turrets also being used as BenBot gets a nice amount of pressure on its opponent. Quite a few of these roaches do successfully retreat, though, and so even though some of them were getting picked off, Eris still gets some nice efficiency as the bio count thins out. The trades just, and the DPS isn't high enough to actually finish these roaches off, despite there having been a Raven's presence for a large chunk of that fight. I mean, we take a look, though. The Zerg all of a sudden is down to 54 drones, which is not where Eris wants us to be. It's got a 5th base up, but doesn't quite have the drone production to have that ridiculous amount of Zerg units that it's so good at getting to generally. Now, BenBot's got a healthy supply lead. It's got 75 SCVs, so it will be looking for a 4th base to have optimal saturation because that main base is really starting to mine out. So there's going to be surplus SCVs, and we see this 4th base floating over here. We'll need to get a turret or a Raven there to expand there, though, as those Lings that have been there a long time are still there. BenBot's biomicro looking pretty good, though, as these Marauders are doing a nice job just skirmishing with the roaches, which is generally something you wouldn't want to do, but in this case it's looking not bad. We hear the tag jump enemy base as BenBot does have a BC moving into the Zerg's main base. There's no spore crawlers present here yet. Eris throws up 4 spores at the site of the BC, but it's a little bit late. And so the battlecruiser may get some nice damage here. There's no Yamato cannon on it just yet. And BenBot continues to skirmish on the front with its higher supply. That 4th base was established, so nicely done. BenBot doesn't have a 5th base on the way yet. Not quite. So that'll be something important to keep our eye on, as usually these TVZs do tend to hinge on the 4th/5th base. As I say that, though, we actually get a 5th on location from BenBot. We're getting more BCs on the way. Bio still being produced. I do see a bit of a potential turning point in this game, though, in that Eris is heading towards 2-2 for this Roach Hydra. I think at that point, the bio is really going to lose competitiveness against just the Roach and Hydra, as 2-2 is incredibly good on Roach Hydra, and then the bio won't get the mileage that it's been getting so far. It is enough to help defend this planetary, though, as there's a tank, there's a Liberator at the back as well. PFs, of course, can defend themselves pretty nicely. This battle cruiser only got 4 kills. It's going back in, denying some mining, uses its Yamato cannon, going to shoot the Spore Crawler down and kill it, notably not teleport out. So more mining time being denied. There's battle cruisers now flying towards this 6th base, which is incredibly close to BenBot's 4th base. So these bots are kind of locked in having to deal with each other. They are right in front of each other's face, and whichever one of these bots loses a base first could be in a lot of trouble. The battle cruiser is still doing a nice job here for BenBot, though. The retreat threshold may have been altered a little bit here, as this battle cruiser, okay, it does eventually teleport out there. It maybe could have stayed a bit longer, but it's not like it was teleporting out at a high HP threshold there, so getting some good value, not just wasting a lot of time in transit, which is something that's important to note when you're playing these sort of battle cruiser efficiency styles. Battle cruiser comes on in here. It is isolated, so an infestor may be able to grab it. Not that there's that much anti-air for the Zerg yet. We hear the tag jump enemy base. 2 more BCs show on up. Eris is really lacking anti-air in this game. The Spire is quite late. There's infestors out and queens out, but there's really no damage for the Zerg to actually finish off these BCs, even if we get a neural. The Hydras can try, but, I mean, Hydras against BCs just aren't it. BenBot's maxed out. Eris is going to be struggling in this game. The Roaches and Infestors will need some good efficiency. I think we're just waiting for the Spire to finish before we get some Corruptors out, but there's some nice Yamatos going down on top of the Battlecruisers. Good Neural intercepts that and prevents it. As BenBot's BCs try and look out for each other. There is the double neural parasite, though. The battle cruisers are mostly just occupied, though. One of them does go down thanks to the Hydra DPS. Another one is grabbed. I'm not sure they'll actually be able to target it down. They're really trying, and they will get it. The BC even kills a friendly turret as BenBot teleports in another battle cruiser on top of this base. The gold has almost fallen. It's not like Eris has really been mining too much at this location. We're getting scans going down as well, so these BCs can potentially hunt the infestors, and that is important value for BenBot, as the infestors are the predator of the battlecruiser in, I don't know, the Starcraft 2 order, but we've got BenBot still with a very nice supply lead compared to Eris. The Zerg does have Corruptors on the way. It's getting out more Spore Crawlers. Spore Crawler at this base, very important. I'm not sure it's going to live long enough, though, to be effective, as BenBot just is fighting a Zerg that's down 60 supply compared to it, and Eris is having a difficult time here. BenBot's going to get this gold. We've got more Spore Crawlers finishing up here for Eris, but they're not going to be done in time. The Corruptor count, I really think, is the thing to watch here. Corruptors and Infestors can absolutely deal with battle cruisers. The Spore Crawlers are nice to absorb some damage while this is going on. The Neural has that BC teleported where, I do not know. I think it actually might have made it home, that one, as this game is really starting to heat up. The APM for these bots is rising the more units they control. Eris skirmishing with these Corruptors is so important to force these battle cruisers away. The Zerg, though, I mean, a lot of those Corruptors have been softened up. They've not even got +1 attack yet. That's something that's very important. Meanwhile, BenBot's heading to +2 attack on its battle cruisers. It's already got +2 armor. I would love to see armor tier level 3 researching soon, but for now the Zerg is kind of holding on, as once there's an answer for the battle cruisers, BenBot's supply is a lot less efficient than it was earlier in this game. We'll see if Eris can maybe pull off a miraculous comeback. It's still got a long way to go, though, because BenBot has traded incredibly efficiently this game. So Eris will need to start getting some good pickoffs like these battle cruisers, those kind of things. And battle cruisers, Ravens, get some harassment done, deny some bases, maybe even take the extra bases. And Eris absolutely needs to deny this location of BenBot. Roaches and Hydras can probably get that done, and they do, as BenBot went for a rather bold expansion. We do have the Zerg moving forward, kills off the Widowmine. Yamato Cannon going to take an Infestor down, so that's a good pickoff for BenBot. The battle cruiser count is presently just 5, as a lot of supply is tied up in other things like Liberators, like the 11 Widowmines that are randomly out on the map. BenBot's going hard on the Widowmines this game. It's got 3 that are just chilling here, so interesting behavior there from BenBot. We are getting +3 armor on the way, though, for these battle cruisers. That's important. Eris getting +1 for the Corruptors. The Zerg, though, is at, I think, its highest supply so far this game, which could be significant. And yeah, I think BenBot might just have a bit much supply occupied in other things. Like, I'm not sure how much it needs Hellions in this situation, because its battle cruiser count isn't really at that self-sustaining, self-protecting amount where they can pick off the Infestors, where they're just such an overwhelming force that the Zerg just loses lots when they try and fight them. But one at a time, the Zerg can absolutely deal with that. And so BenBot is in a bit of a concerning spot right now. There's a nice, well, there's 3 Vikings with 3 more on the way to counter the Corruptors. So maybe things can get better for the Terran, as this BC's in a little bit of trouble. Will it teleport out? No, its teleports off cooldown, but it does successfully retreat. Terrain and pathing are a big part of these engagements. These BCs need to be careful. This one's off cooldown, as BenBot's trying to engage the Corruptors with its Vikings. Eris doesn't have that many Corruptors, but for now, the game's at a little bit of a stalemate, which is quite impressive. I'm not sure how these Ravens got up here, though. This is concerning for BenBot. It does not want to lose these high-value units. The Zerg is actually moving in. Beautiful auto-turret play by BenBot, though, dropping those down on the high-value Infestor target, and it's actually able to kill one of them off. The Ravens as well, just avoiding the danger. As I say that, though, I kind of jinxed it, but we see the Ravens avoid the Corruptors. They head to the north, and the Corruptors are kind of pulled south by the presence of these battle cruisers. Looks like they will go down eventually, but this means the Corruptors are not here in this attack, so Eris's attack falls flat, and the Terran takes probably its best trade in the past few minutes, as those Ravens did distract the Corruptors quite a bit. The game continues on, though, with a bit of a stalemate. Each bot has got its side of the map, minus the gold base, which can really go either way. And so I'm not sure which bot is going to be able to secure up these expansions. Eris has got a much higher gas income than BenBot. As we can see, Eris has got a ridiculously high gas income, 1,800 gas a minute has got to be like all these assimilators mining, and I think it pretty much is. BenBot, on the other hand, we can see it actually pulled out a gas mining for a moment because it was oversaturated on the gas, having more gas than minerals, which is impressive economic balancing. Corruptors and Neural Parasite do grab one of the BCs. We'll see if there's going to be another to secure a kill. Looks like this one is on cooldown with its teleport. Another one gets yoinked, kinda, but I think it does successfully get on out of there, as it's hard to keep track of where these battle cruisers go when they teleport out. The Corruptor count for Eris is up to 12. The Infestor count is 4, as the trades still remain vastly in favor for BenBot. So the base count is going to have to be the way that Eris wins this game, as Corruptors and Hydras are moving forward. The upgrades are going to be improving for the Zerg as well as time goes on, with that +2 attack on the way. That'll be nice. We do get a Neural Parasite battle cruiser going to Yamato cannon its comrade and then get picked off promptly. That's what Eris wants. However, it's got to avoid the ghosts on the ground, which are doing a lot of background work, just getting microed back and forth using snipes. Raven and Battlecruiser moving forward. Vikings trying to pick off these Corruptors. Eris trying to pull back the injured ones as this BC just narrowly escapes. That's a nice save by BenBot. An attempt at this gold base is shut down once more, though, as BenBot is going to lose another BC. Losing a battlecruiser isn't the end of the world for the Terran. It's just a matter of how many units the BC takes down before it dies, and the answer with that previous one was not very good. But now we're seeing BenBot gain some efficiency as Eris commits a lot of units onto this base. I'm not sure the Zerg will be able to kill this location either. The Liberator getting some really good value. The Hydras do eventually target it down, which is impressive. Infestors coming forward. Maybe by some miracle Eris can kill off this planetary. It's not the highest value target, but still shutting down a base could potentially turn things around for the Zerg a little bit, because who knows, that might mean this gold base is going to be Eris's next expansion. As I say that, this location is being secured. BenBot did teleport battle cruisers in to try and save this planetary. It's burning down. Where's an SCV with the repair? They're mining gas. You got to repair the base. They're repairing the turret. Why are you repairing the turret? The planetary burns down. Poor prioritization there from the SCVs of BenBot. I imagine the repair mechanic is very complicated for the Terran bot, but a bit of a different priority on those SCVs in that base could have lived, so that's quite painful, as we see BenBot now getting tested a little bit in the center of the map. However, the Zerg did lose a lot of stuff making that attack happen. Make no mistake, Eris's resources lost is so far behind that of BenBot that it has to secure up this gold base. It has to start mining from this location, because BenBot has effectively mined out like 2 bases more than Eris, well, it's killed off 2 bases more of resources, so Eris needs to be more cost efficient here. 2 Hydras out on the map do die. I guess they kind of got cornered there, but honestly, that's worth it if it's distracting BenBot for a moment. Eris is probably happy with the status quo of it having this gold base and just defending, having time to rebuild its army, getting up more air upgrades, that kind of thing. BenBot's rebuilding this base, but that's kind of an afterthought at this point. There's some resources left, but again, picking off that base was huge for Eris, because instead of BenBot trying to secure here, it's just retaking its old base. The Zerg is now fighting on creep as the battlecruisers are getting aggressive. Corruptors are getting some nice volleys off on these BCs, forcing them to teleport out. There's quite a few tanks that have come with BenBot for this attack, though, setting up on creep. They're getting massive amounts of shots off. Roaches and Hydras unable to dispatch the tanks, as those were some really good trades for the tanks, but one of them does actually go down there. They're kind of isolated now as the battlecruisers have been pushed away. Vikings actually on the wrong side of things now, as they've kind of been cornered a little bit. The pathing is going haywire. Fungal too, as Eris gets a phenomenal trade picking off those Vikings, but we see Eris just hasn't been able to sustain its rate of losses. Its supply is still 160. However, those pickoffs were pretty darn good. So that could potentially be the start of a turnaround for the Red Zerg. This is a phenomenal bot match between these two, as we've got multiple BCs on the way for BenBot, as they're just flying around in a pack. The battlecruiser count is much higher than that 5 it was previously. Is there's 7 out now with 2 more on the way. Liberator flying forward, that's going to go down. Looks like BenBot was trying to get that to secure that gold base. That's not going to happen though. Burrowed units there, creep there as well. Hydra's skirmishing with these BCs is a very poor trade from Eris though, as the Corruptors are just hanging out here, leaving these Hydras. That's quite unfortunate. The Zerg Corruptor count is getting ridiculous now though, as Eris has got that Greater Spire done, so it's got the opportunity to make Broodlords if it wants to, and I mean, this Corruptor count is like getting to the I kill any amount of battle cruisers, because yeah, like Corruptors just trade pound for pound so well against the BCs, unless it's like 10 BCs versus 20 Corruptors, then you get 10 Yamato cannons off on the Corruptors, but that's not really how BenBot functions. It more cycles them in one by one, which does allow the Zerg that groups up its Corruptors very well to get better trades. Now BenBot is moving forward, cleaning up creep. It wants to secure this gold base. That would be a huge win for the Terran if it can, but here comes all those Corruptors. A Widowmine trying to fire, or those are actually snipes, pardon me, wrong lines. Mass Neural Parasite going down on these BCs though, as Eris takes a phenomenal trade, catching so much of BenBot's army. That's like 5 dead battle cruisers there. And Eris really turns things around with that engagement. That's just the power of a large Corruptor count against BenBot. It didn't really dump the Yamato cannons, I believe, into the Corruptors there. I mean, 30 Corruptors have died this game. That's no small amount. We've got a Viking mass turret shooting at them as Eris flies over those turrets. So far, the Zerg, though, will be able to deny this expansion for BenBot. It's mining from this critical location. No gas yet, but still, the minerals are very important. Eris is maxed out. BenBot is getting maxed out. Again, I say getting because Terran's supply is a little bit of a lie. Well, I guess most StarCraft 2 races are a bit of a lie in that sense, but it seems to impact Terran a little bit more. Just when you're producing these BCs, as it's like, that is, I don't know how much supply. That's like 30 supply in the production tab. So the supplies are massively misleading right now. Eris does have a lower drone count too compared to BenBot, so its overall army is larger, and Eris is coming in here to try and break this planetary. We'll see if we get BCs teleporting in to try and save this location. Vikings coming forward, going to skirmish with the Corruptors. We get a beautiful snipe on some of the infestors in the background there, but there's still Neurals going down on the few BCs that met the call here, and so they do go down. The Vikings are trading all right against the Corruptors, softening them up to an incredible degree, but BenBot is just taking so long to rebuild these battle cruisers. While this is going on though, the Terran did actually get a command center planted and building. We'll see if Eris shuts that down before it can turn into a PF. That could be game changing, as BenBot does need those resources. Its bank is still decent, but that's only like 5 BCs worth of minerals it's got. We get another Neural Parasite going to pick off one of those battle cruisers. The Planetaries, the Liberators, getting some good trades on the Zerg Yamato cannon to kill off an Infestor. It's not terrible trades from BenBot, as it does still find the value. Corruptors getting a little too far forward, flying over turrets. Widowmines. Neural does grab another BC. It survives, though, teleporting. Or where did it end up? I genuinely have no idea if it died or what. But for now, the Red Zerg has kind of been deflected, it seems, as Eris just threw away a lot of supply there. It did kill off the one base, but BenBot got this sneaky planetary up. There's battle cruisers teleporting on in. This is so important whether Eris can break this PF, but we see BenBot teleporting in multiple battle cruisers to defend it. So many of the Corruptors died. Neural Parasites catching multiple of these BCs, though one of them gets teleported somewhere. But for now, things are looking a little rough for the Zerg. Another battle cruiser teleports in. There's just not enough Infestors, not enough Corruptors to take a good trade here. I mean, trades in StarCraft 2 are like exponential, right? Like, it's just infinitely worse the lower your supply gets. And right now we're just seeing Eris does not have the resources to maintain these trades. It's got some minerals. It's mining the gas from this gold base now, but I think it just must be mining out on too many of its bases, or just have been trading too quickly to maintain this. And with BenBot securing up this gold base, I think we may have our victor, as the Zerg supply is just too low. It's not able to recover now. And yeah, what a back and forth game this has been. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've watched up until this point, click that like button, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you enjoy these bot matches. And yeah, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. There's that bell icon too. Get notified whenever I do a live stream, make a post, all that good stuff. And if you do want to support the content created on this channel, consider becoming a YouTube member. Big thanks to everyone who is. We do have BenBot still getting attacked by Eris. We've got a little bit of a Ling run by, but the SCVs aren't exactly being targeted down quickly enough, and there's just no answer for the 10 battle cruisers now, as Eris is unfortunately falling off. What a match between these two. Really great game. There's a lot to unpack here. I can't really point at one particular thing that went wrong. There was so many things back and forth where it's like, oh, this is good, this is bad. But nothing that really stands out, which goes to show that these bots are both very developed. A little quirks here and there, but yeah, really great TVZ, as BenBot is now cleaning everything up. Eris is, of course, going to try because it's Eris, but Hydras ain't beating battle cruisers, particularly when it's 3v10. And there's Yamato cannons. The Vikings of BenBot were very nice in this game to just constantly be kiting those corruptors with unlimited APM, with unlimited micro. It's pretty difficult for those corruptors to get on the Vikings unless there's like a neural parasite or something like that. And yeah, I think that's about it for this one. It's a lot of Zerg bases, so it will take a while to all be cleaned up. Although Eris does sometimes GG. Neural on a BC forces a few of them away. But even the gold is no longer there. BenBot securing this base. With this base being secured, that was what won it for BenBot. If Eris had been able to deny this base, it might have been a lot closer. If Eris had been able to take this base, the Red Zerg probably would have won. But, yeah, just a close one. If you guys want to see more Eris versus BenBot, let me know in the comments down below. BC is always heading home to be repaired. GG, well played.